guys, it's Amber from Amber Eats Books, and I'm here today to bring you my favorite young adult books of 2016. Now, not all of these were published in 2016, maybe only a handful, not even that, maybe 2 or 3 were published in 2016. I just read them for the first time in 2016, so that's why they are on this list. These go in no particular order. I am saving my favorite one, obviously, for last, though. And some of them I own, and some of them I don't own because I borrowed them from the library, but let's get into them. I'm just gonna go ahead and start with the books here that I have written down, the ones that I don't own. The first one is The Girl with All the Gifts by M.R. Carey. That one, I don't even want to tell you anything about it because it is best to go into that book blind. The next book is All the Bright Places by Jennifer Niven. That is a contemporary book that just really was very emotional, sad at times. It's weird to say I enjoyed reading it. It's not that I enjoyed reading it, it was that I was so emotional about it. I wasn't expecting that from a young adult book, to be quite honest, because I had just discovered young adult books, and that was one of the first ones that I actually dove into, and I was not expecting that at all. Another one is called The Weight of Feathers by Anna Marie McLemore. Hope I'm saying that correctly. That was a love story between these two warring families. Not even warring, they were just at odds with each other. There was the circus family and the other ones were mermaids. It was very, very well written. It was magical realism, and I actually really enjoyed it. I didn't know if I was going to like it that much, and it became one of my favorite books and one that I still remember when I thought I was not going to remember it after reading it. So I definitely recommend that one. Also, another emotional book was I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson. Oh my gosh, that one was so good. If you have not read that book, please go out and read it. Another emotional book was We Are the Ants by Sean David Hutchinson. I absolutely just fell in love with that book. I, again, didn't think I was going to like it because contemporary is not really my genre, especially YA contemporary, though quite a few of these on my list were contemporary fiction, YA fiction, but I really enjoyed it, and I just didn't think I was going to. So if you have not checked that one out, please go do so. And then the last one on here that is just a standalone that I do not own, but I hope to own very, very soon, is Salt to the Sea by Rudis Apetys. That book was fantastic. That was a World War II historical fiction YA novel, and it was just a story that was touched upon that you don't even hear about in regular historical fiction at all. So it was great to learn about that, and it was also a joy to follow these characters' journeys and to see what happened to them. I mean, some things were sad, but some things were happy, and it was so good. It was such an emotional roller coaster, and I enjoyed her writing so much. 2 other favorite YA standalones that I own and read this year were the first one is on some people's worst lists from the last few years that I saw, but for me it was one of my favorites, and that was Looking for Alaska by John Green. I could reread this book and find so many quotable parts. I absolutely loved it. His writing is it's really good, though I have read other books by him that I did not enjoy as much, but this one was my first John Green book after The Fault in Our Stars, which I had read a few years ago, and I absolutely loved this. And like I said, I could find so many things to quote. I was looking for something that I had highlighted that I was going to share with you as one of my favorite quotes out of the book, but now I don't know if, oh, I found it. Okay. It says, when you stopped wishing things wouldn't fall apart, you'd stop suffering when they did. Ugh. My favorite line out of the whole book. So yes, definitely one of my favorites. And then the next book that is hands down one of my favorites was Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. This book was just so much fun to read. There was so much nostalgia in it, from old 80s references to old video games. I couldn't get enough of this book. It was so fun and just fast-paced, and whoever has an inner nerd would absolutely adore this book. So if you yourself have an inner nerd, please check this book out. Then the next few books are all series that YA series that I have started and really enjoy, or have finished and really enjoy. The first of those being The Queen of the Tearling by Erica Johansson. I read The Queen of the Tearling and Invasion of the Tearling, and I absolutely enjoyed both of them. I can't wait to get to The Fate of the Tearling. It's out now, so hopefully I will be able to get my hands on that soon. Another trilogy that I absolutely adored was the Grisha trilogy by Leigh Bardugo. I loved that. I mean, it wasn't spectacular as far as some of the plot goes, but I absolutely love the story. I love some of the characters, and the writing was really good. I read Six of Crows this year, and it did not make my favorites list because I read that before I read the Grisha trilogy, and though I heard you don't need to particularly do that, I think I did because I didn't get as much out of Six of Crows as other people did. But now, having read the Grisha trilogy, I want to go back and reread that book, and hopefully it'll make my favorites list for next year. Also, another series that I really loved was The Wrath and the Dawn by Renee Ahdieh. I read that, and I read The Rose and the Dagger. Those two were just fantastic books. I loved the retelling. It was a retelling of 1001 Nights. Why couldn't I remember that? I was like blanking. And for me, I just really, really loved it. Then these next two books I actually own part of the series. The first one being Cinder by Marissa Meyer. This was the first and only book that I've read of the series so far because I did not think I was going to enjoy it, and I really, really did. I fell in love with this character, and I can't wait to see what the rest of the series has in store. My daughter actually owns all of them, so I will be continuing the series in 2017. And then the next one, I don't have the first book, but I have the second one, and that's An Ember in the Ashes and A Torch Against the Night by Sabaa Tahir. I fell in love with this series. I loved it so much. I can't wait to get An Ember in the Ashes. That is on the top of my must-buy for 2017 because my husband and kids bought this one for me when it first came out for my birthday, so I need the matching set. But yeah, this was such a good fantasy series, so if you are into fantasy, please give this one a try. And now for my favorite YA book of the year, book and series of the year. And if you guys don't know what it is already, I mean, have you not watched any of my videos? Because I talk about this one way too much. That is The Diviners by Libba Bray. I adore this series. I think this is my favorite book of 2016, not just my favorite YA book of 2016. I fell in love with these characters, with the writing, with the setting, the 1920s New York setting. I just loved it. I also read Lair of Dreams, which is the sequel to this year. I don't own it, otherwise it would be up here with this one as well. And I love that book just as much as I love the first one. I cannot wait for the third book to come out, and I don't think that's coming out till maybe, was it this year or 2018? I don't know when it comes out, but whenever it is too far away for me. I just love these characters. Evie was my least favorite character, and even she was one that I still love. Sam Lloyd was probably my absolute favorite character out of both books, but I just adored it. So this is definitely my favorite book of the year. I loved it so much I actually bought a copy and sent it to my best friend so she could give it a try because I know she will fall in love with it just as much as me. So if you have not read it, please, please, please read it because it's so good. So those are my favorite YA books that I read in 2016. Did you guys read any? What did you think about them? Share some thoughts down in those comments below. Anyway, I hope you have a great week and happy reading.